Pune Porsche case. An accident that had indeed outraged the entire nation. Latest from the Pune Porsche hit and run case, the police custody of minors accused father Vishal Aggarwal and grandfather Surendra Aggarwal is ending today. So where does this leave the investigation at this point? Both will be produced in court today. Pune Crime Branch wants to interrogate the same minor accused, and therefore a letter has been written to the Juvenile Justice Board for the same. They want to interrogate the minor face to face by making him sit in front of his family and friends. This is the latest in the Pune Porsche case. Remember, if we speak of the Pune Porsche case, there are several angles that are being looked at, that are being probed into. The very first being the accident itself, the series of events that played after the accident took place. Very first being the fact that they were under the accused and his friends who were in that car were under the influence of alcohol, and they're all minors, remember, which is what makes this case even more murkier. With that now, we also have Kiran Tare joining us on the broadcast to bring us latest updates into the case and some more context into the latest updates that we just played out for you. Kiran, a very good morning to you. Very firstly, what we are learning is that the custody for the father and the grandfather ends today. Several angles being investigated into with regards to their involvement in the case as well, or rather covering up the case as well. What exactly are the latest details with regards to this, as well as the fact that they are to be produced in court for further custody?
Yeah. Good morning, Shreya. Yesterday, the two doctors and the one assistant in the postmortem department, their police custody has been extended till June 7th. So this is the latest development. And now the father and son, the Aggarwal father and son, they will be produced in the court, and the police are going to ask for an extension of their police custody. But here again, yesterday, a big drama was witnessed in the courtroom, and another revelation, another twist in this story has come up. Now the police are saying that the blood samples which was collected from the minor's body was not thrown in the dustbin. Instead of that, the syringe which contained the blood was given to a private person. This is more serious allegation than what the police were assuming before. Also, one thing has come on very clearly that the blood sample was taken at a place where CCTVs were not installed. This is another indication that it was a pre-planned cover-up, and everybody in the hospital was involved in that, right from the doctors to the staff to the nurses to the higher authority of the hospital, where in the loop that the CCTVs are not there, and then the blood sample was taken in that particular place. And another twist, yeah, I cannot get over of this case. So many twists and turns. Another twist in this case is that yesterday we were talking about how Shivani Agarwal's blood was used to test instead of the minor, but now it is emerging that the blood which was taken and which was swapped with the minor's blood was not of his mother. There, it was a blood of a woman, but she was not his mother. The DNA sampling clearly says that the DNAs are not matching. The DNA between the DNA of the minor and his mother are not matching. So it is very clear that the blood sample which was taken from the person was not of his mother, but a different woman. Another twist, another police theory, what they are claiming in the court, that the two friends of the minor, they were also in the same car, and they were also allegedly drunk. Their blood samples were also switched with two elderly people. Two elderly people with the same blood group were brought in to the hospital, and their blood samples were switched. So we can assume that this is a case where everybody was trying to cover up and everybody was trying to help the minor going out of the way. And I don't think this is happening because of only personal relationship or what. The police have recovered 2.5 lakh rupees from Dr. Srihari Halnor's house and 50,000 rupees from Atul Ghatkambe's house. They are the accused in this case, but the main accused, Dr. Ajay Tavre, I think he must have got a bigger amount than what these two juniors have got.
Right, Kiran. Kiran, in fact, as we speak of the case, it seems like the family's involvement in this particular case, or rather, as we were just mentioning, to cover up this particular case at this point, seems to be far greater. The attempts made seem to be far greater than the juvenile having conducted the crime in itself. There are several other charges that are now coming into play because of the family's attempts to, cover up the case. At this point, just to recollect it for our viewers, if you could just tell our viewers what are the charges at this point that the father, Vishal Aggarwal, as well as the grandfather is facing in this particular case. What were their involvements since day one that's come to the fore so far into the case?
The minor's father, Vishal Aggarwal, is facing the charge of handing over the car to the minor because, as per the law, if a minor is given a vehicle, his parents are liable for a punishment for deliberately handing over the car, in spite of knowing that he is not eligible to run the vehicle. So, that is the first charge. The second charge is about destroying the evidences. He had tried to manipulate the things. He had tried to pressurize the driver. The grandfather also tried to pressurize the driver. The driver was confined to a place, and the driver was pressurized to admit his guilt, which he did not. I mean, he was not at the wheels at the time of the accident, but the grandfather had tried to pressurize the driver to admit that he was driving the car and the minor was sitting behind. So, these kind of charges are there. Plus, the father, Vishal Aggarwal, he is also facing charges of constructing an illegal resort in Mahabaleshwar on a government land. The government land was asserted to build his private resort, and yesterday the chief minister has ordered to demolish the resort because it has been built on a government land by using illegal ways. All these things, this thing again, it's not about the crime of the accident or all, but there are also so many things attached with that, political connections to illegal land grabbing and all things. I think the Agarwal family is going to have a very tough days in coming days.
Absolutely. In fact, Kiran, let's also talk about, as you just mentioned, if indeed what has come to the fore now is the fact that the blood was not thrown away, the sample of the accused, but it was a syringe that was handed over to a private person in this case. That's the latest twist and turn as far as the medical reports having been manipulated is being talked about. If indeed that is what comes to the fore, what exactly will the ramifications be? Legal technicalities, if you could just take us a little bit through it as to what exactly are the ramifications we are looking at, what are the consequences we are looking at if that seems to be the case.
If the police's claim is proved in the court, the doctors will face a severe punishment, no doubt about that. Their registration might be cancelled, they will be jailed, they will be punished, or there will be some economic fine to them as well. But as far as the case goes on, the fate of the minor, it depends upon why or whether he was drunk or not at the time of the accident. Unfortunately, what the police have done, they have sent another sample of his blood to another hospital in Aund area of Pune. So there are two samples, and we are hearing that the second sample, which was sent to the another hospital apart from Sassoon Hospital, they have clearly said in their report that there were alcohol traces found in his blood. This report is not out yet. The report is not submitted to the court, but this is all what the sources are saying. If the blood report says that there are alcohol traces, then the case is clear. The minor will be held accused and held guilty of of driving the car in a drunken state. But in the Sassoon Hospital case, the doctors and the staff and the other authorities of the hospital, they are liable for a bigger punishment because they did not only violate the rules, but they had done an ethical crime as well, because this is the people's trust they have breached, and that is, I think, that is a bigger crime.
Absolutely, Kiran. In fact, thank you for bringing us all the latest updates into this case, one that we have been keeping a close track of, and with each passing day, one that seems to get murkier by not just, in fact, each passing day, but each passing hour at this point.